The United States owes $13.90 trillion. There is no way to pay it back through taxes. There is no way to cut spending fast enough. And yet, governments have erased debts this large before, not by defaulting, not by printing money openly, by doing something far more subtle, far more invisible, and they're doing it right now. Most people think there are only three ways a government can deal with too much debt: tax more, spend less, or default. But there is a fourth option, one that governments have used throughout history, one that transfers wealth from ordinary savers to the state so slowly, so quietly, that most people never realize it's happening. It's called financial repression. And in October 2024, the US Treasury Secretary announced publicly that it's the plan. Before we talk about today, let me take you back to 1946, because what happened after World War II is the most important financial case study almost nobody knows about. In 1946, the United States emerged from World War II with a debt to GDP ratio of 23%, larger relative to the economy than today. The war had been financed almost entirely on borrowed money, and the question facing Washington was simple and terrifying. How do you pay it back? Raising taxes would kill the post-war economic recovery. Cutting spending would trigger a depression. Defaulting was unthinkable. So the government did something else. The Federal Reserve pegged interest rates below the rate of inflation. That means if inflation was running at 4%, the government kept interest rates at 2%. If you owned government bonds, you were earning less than inflation. In real terms, you were losing money every year, but so slowly, so quietly. You still received your interest payments. Your statement still showed a positive number. What you couldn't see was that the purchasing power of those payments was being silently eroded. By 1955, just 9 years later, the debt to GDP ratio had fallen from 122% to 66%, not through cuts, not through taxes, not through default. Through financial repression, inflation quietly transferred wealth from bondholders and savers to the government, and almost nobody called it what it was. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. On October 17, 2020, Scott Bessent, who would become the US Treasury Secretary, described this exact playbook publicly on record. He called it a neat year project. Bessent's plan has 4 steps. Step 1: hold bond yields below the rate of inflation, not through force, through Federal Reserve policy. Keep money cheap, keep rates suppressed. Step 2: generate hot nominal growth. Inflation makes GDP numbers look bigger, even if real growth is modest. A 39 trillion debt is more manageable when the GDP denominator keeps growing. Step 3: settle trade in gold as the dollar gradually falls against real assets. Not a dramatic collapse, a slow, managed decline. Step 4: exploit what economists call the Cantillon effect. Those closest to newly created money effect. Those closest to newly created money, banks, asset owners, corporations, before prices adjust. They buy assets cheap. By the time inflation reaches, the wealth transfer is already complete. The result is that ordinary savers, people with money in bonds, savings accounts, CDs, lose purchasing power year by year, while asset holders, people who own real estate, gold, businesses, stocks, see their nominal values rise. This is not a conspiracy, it is policy, announced publicly by the man who runs the US Treasury. And here's the number that makes this real. Consumer stocks, bonds, and housing priced in gold rather than dollars are already down 35 to 40% from their peaks, even as they hit nominal all-time highs in dollar terms. The repression has already started. Financial repression works because it is invisible. Your savings account shows a number that isn't going down. Your bond statement shows interest being paid. What you cannot see is that $100 in savings today buys what 65 bought 5 years ago. The number stays the same. The value disappears. History gives us a very clear picture of who wins and who loses during financial repression. Losers, anyone holding cash, bonds, or fixed income savings. Their real purchasing power is systematically eroded. Winners, anyone holding hard assets, gold, real estate. Productive businesses, commodities, their nominal values rise with inflation, while the debt in real terms shrinks. The 1945 episode transferred enormous wealth from American savers to the US government. It worked so smoothly that most Americans living through it never understood what was happening. And that's the point. Financial repression is the most successful tax in history, because it's the one nobody votes on. Every great empire in history has eventually faced the same problem. Too much debt, too little tax base, too many obligations. Rome debased its coins. Weimar printed money openly. Britain imposed austerity and declined for decades. United States after World War II found a fourth way. Subtle, patient, effective, and now with $39 trillion in debt and a publicly announced 10-year plan, they're running it again. The question isn't whether financial repression is happening. Scott Besson told you it was. The question is whether you understand it well enough to protect what you've built. Subscribe to Empire Collapse, because the most dangerous taxes are the ones you never see coming.